We're following breaking news. Bill Cosby has been released from prison after Pennsylvania's highest court overturned his 2018 sexual assault conviction. BNC has live team coverage on this. We have BNC's chief legal correspondent, Dr. Laura McNeil, at the helm of our legal panel. BNC's Anita Bennett is live at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Topping the news this half hour is the latest on the deadly condo collapse. We are learning of an alarming new report detailing major structural damage to the Champlain South Tower. We found out that engineers actually sounded the alarm 3 years ago on the structural integrity of the building. BNC correspondent Astrid Martinez is live from the site of the collapse with the latest on this tragedy. And Astrid, this report is also raising many questions like, did they see this coming? People across the nation are draped in orange this weekend to honor victims and survivors who have died at the hands of people with guns. Tonight, we can't say this enough. We will never forget. Today, the nation pausing to remember the horror inflicted on Americans and the nearly 3,000 lives that were taken in the worst terrorist act ever on American soil. All right, you've been listening to President Biden briefing the nation on the crisis in Afghanistan. You see him not taking questions there. The president returning back from Camp David to talk about this today. He said a few key things here. He said the U.S.'s mission in Afghanistan was never nation building, and he also said the U.S. never went there to be a unified democracy, but they were solely there. Our troops are there to make sure to prevent a terrorist attack from happening on American soil. All right, BNC's Dre Clark live for us in New York. Dre, thank you. And now meteorologist Brittany Lockley is here with me. Now, you've been tracking the storm. Brittany, as Dre said, it sounds like it's a lot better than we expected. Thank God. All right, so here's some advice for you folks. Double check your pockets at the airport. And I say that because TSA is cashing in on coins that you leave behind.
Quite a moment.
It's a moment. And just think about what she said. I may be the first woman in that office, but I won't be the last. And as a former senator who fought hard to make a way for black people in the Senate and to make sure black voices were heard, you told me before Election Day that when you were in the Senate, you felt like your job was to be the representative for all black people. How will Harris's position hold an even bigger weight right now?
Well, because it's the second highest position in the country.
And we've heard people say now that Joe Biden is getting the job, don't forget all of the promises that have been made. Now that he's secured those 270 plus electoral votes, what does this mean in terms of moving forward for Black America?
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times, you know, people are like, okay, he won, now what?
And welcome back to another Entrepreneur Sunday. Tonight's guest is transforming ordinary desserts into edible art, folks. Check out this Mother's Day box. Let me show it to you. Here's a close look right here. Look at all that good stuff. All right, Britt, so here's a little black girl magic. Take a look at this adorable video that's look at that. Look at that, Britt. Like, she is putting Tyra Banks and everybody to
confidence.
Shame. Yeah. This video is making its way around social media. Easter is here, and these little ladies did not come to play. They actually came to slay the runway at their school. People across social media have been posting this, saying, this is how I am walking into Easter. I mean, just look at that.
That's how I walk into the dinner table at Easter.
Ready for a whole meal, but yeah.
Without the bacon. How about you?
Oh my gosh, everything is good with bacon. Like, there's no way.
We can agree to disagree. Do you want to have the bacon debate?
The bacon debate.
Do you really want to have the bacon debate with me?
I'm hog heaven, sister.
Yeah.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us here on BNC Live. I'm Brittany Jones. So let's get to your top headlines tonight. Well, the death toll from the condo collapse in Surfside, Florida now sits at 90, with 31 people still unaccounted for. Personal belongings such as rings and jewelry and other personal effects are being recovered and returned to their owners. As the recovery operation continues, more than 14 million pounds of concrete and debris have been removed from the site. Some rescue crews deployed from out of state are returning home, including the rescue team from Israel. Search crews still at the scene say they will not give up until everyone is found. The Haitian First Lady Martine Moïse is speaking for the first time since her husband's assassination. She posted a statement on her Twitter account this weekend. She says she's alive thanks to God, but she lost her husband in the blink of an eye. Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse was killed last Wednesday in their home. The First Lady was also wounded during the shooting. She says to the people of Haiti, quote, "Tears will never dry up in my eyes. My heart will still bleed, but we cannot allow the president to die a second time. It's true, I'm crying, but we can't let the country go astray." Meanwhile, the U.S. is stepping in to help the people of Haiti following the assassination of President Moise. The delegation includes experts from the National Security Council, the State Department, Justice Department, and Homeland Security. The Biden administration wants to find out who was responsible for the crime and hold them accountable, as well as help stabilize the situation. Turning now to the fight against COVID-19, data from Johns Hopkins University indicates 24 states have seen COVID-19 cases increase by at least 10% over the past week. The spread of the Delta variant has health experts and the federal government urging more people to get vaccinated. CDC numbers indicate the Delta variant accounted for nearly 52% of all new COVID-19 cases in the United States over the last 2 weeks that ended July 3rd. Health officials in Tennessee have linked a small coronavirus cluster to a meeting of the Southern Baptist Convention last month. And joining us now with the latest on COVID-19 is Dr. Lane Rowland. Doc, health officials are concerned about the Delta variant and the rise in COVID infections. Like you just mentioned, parts of the country are starting to fully reopen to bring back a sense of normalcy. Could we have yet another crisis on our hands?
Oh, absolutely.
And we know that's not the only one to be concerned about. The Lambda variant, which was discovered in Peru last year, is also raising concerns. Scientists say this variant could be resistant to COVID vaccines. Are you concerned that this may turn into the next super spreader like the Delta variant?
Absolutely.
We've heard the names of several victims, some who have been murdered, like Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen in Fort Hood last year. And right now in my hands, I'm holding the 27-page gruesome military police report of one victim who thankfully found her way out, but who has never been the same since. It was June 12, 2016, when Omar Mateen walked into Pulse nightclub and killed 49 people and injured dozens. And as we reflect on that tragic day, our nation yet again faced with another mass shooting this weekend, this time in Texas, where more than a dozen people are hospitalized. That's where BNC's Narissa Knight is live tonight. And Narissa, these people were enjoying themselves one moment and then next moment facing terror. And you actually spoke to several witnesses who say they had to duck for cover. What can you tell us tonight? And 5 years ago, we remember those terrifying moments of the tragedy that took the lives of 49 people inside the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. A gunman walked into the club and kept shooting until he was killed by police. It's known as one of the worst mass shootings in American history. And tonight, people all across the country are paying tribute to the victims and survivors. That's where we find BNC's Stephanie Brittany outside Pulse nightclub that is now a memorial site. Stephanie, good evening. An LGBTQ rights activist and founder of #WeExist, LGBTQ, Charlotte Davis, joins us now to talk about what this day means to the LGBTQ community. Charlotte, thank you so much for joining us tonight and welcome to BNC. And Charlotte, you just heard the stories. We know that you've been out there also all day. I remember getting a call back to come back into work overnight. My boss at the time had told me several people had been shot that day. I covered Pulse, and unfortunately we thought at the time it'll be about 6 people shot, but as I drove into work, it was that number. It just kept growing and growing, and I covered that story for days. It was gruesome. You know, still interviewing people who had blood on their clothes. It was just sad. You know, folks couldn't find their families and a lot of chaos. What does it mean to you to reflect on such a tragedy? We're talking about 5 years later.
It's hurtful.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any easier every year.
Nayara, so Edward Cagney Matthews is accused of verbally attacking a neighbor. He apparently was yelling racial slurs and boldly told folks to come see me. And boy, did they show up. And now he's in jail.
Like I told the Mount Laurel police, get these out of here, and you can't do. That's me talking.
I really want all of this stems back 2 years ago to bring our community together.
And that's exactly what Edward Cagney Matthews did, but not in the way he expected. More than 100 people showed up to his home after this video went viral of him yelling racial slurs and getting in his neighbor's face.
I said what I said Friday to Brendan or Brandon out of anger, and I was very disrespectful. And it was completely inappropriate.
Matthews spoke with local NBC 10 Philadelphia as the group called on him to step outside of his home. Matthews claims he approached his neighbor to discuss issues about the homeowners association for his Mount Laurel home. The video captured him using the N-word and other derogatory expressions.
This has been an ongoing escalating situation that was not stemmed by racism or racist. I got angry, and I used terminology like this with some of my close friends, white and black. I have called myself the N-word on multiple occasions because I'm an idiot and I make bad choices and I screwed up, and I deserve what I get.
When Benita Farmer heard about what happened, she joined protesters who came to confront Matthews.
I don't know what friends he has that allows them to call them out of their name, the N-word, and that's okay with it because it's just astonishing to me, But I think this right here, I think he will change. Not to say that he'll be 100% because no one's perfect, But I definitely this experience definitely impacted him.
Video shows a group of police officers surrounding Matthews as he was escorted from his home. Some in the crowd tossed ice and water bottles. Matthews called this a lapse of judgment and asked for forgiveness, but some say there's no excuse.
One thing he got right was the fact that he said he was an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, you're an idiot. For any apparent reason, no one should be calling anyone out of their names, whether it's black, white, China, it does not matter. It's just not a good thing to do.
Brittany, let's be clear here, though. This is not the first time that people have had issues with Matthews.
No, it's not, Nia. Neighbors say they've had issues with him in the past. Police say they are investigating other incidents involving Matthews. Matthews mentioned in the interview that he spent 14 years in prison. He's expected in court for an arraignment later this week. The police department says he'll likely appear in court on Friday. Nia?